Imagine there's an operation out there that could literally save your life. But when you go to see the doctor, you're told you'll have to wait years before getting it. That's the reality confronting thousands of Canadians who are morbidly obese. People who have tried everything and whose last hope may be weight loss surgery. The procedure has been shown to be effective, but in Canada's publicly funded system, obesity just isn't a priority. And so many are being driven to new depths of despair by wait times they say are putting their lives at risk. Lillian Coakley has never had to prepare for a journey like this before. She's never been outside the country, let alone on a plane. But this trip is worth the nerves, the anxiety. She's on her way to Tijuana, Mexico. Ground zero for medical tourism for an operation she hopes will change her life.
Tell me about the procedure you're going to have.
It's called a vertical sleeve gastrectomy. They're going to cut out between 75 and 80% of the stomach, and they suture it with 3 rows of staples, and they remove that part of the stomach permanently.
What do you dream of when you close your eyes?
To be normal. Not skinny. I don't want to be skinny. I just want to be normal.
You don't want to hear people calling you names anymore.
I want to walk down the street and have people not even notice me.
Lillian is convinced that if she doesn't have the surgery, that her weight, all 350 pounds of her, will eventually kill her.
You think this is your only option?
I really do.
And what if you don't get the surgery?
I believe that I'd probably be dead in 10 years.
And on this most personal of journeys, Lillian allowed us to come with her, all the way from her small town in Nova Scotia to the operating room in Mexico.
Are there options here for you?
There is the vertical sleeve gastrectomy offered in my province. However, when I first had the referral sent in, it was a 2 to 3 year waiting list. And within just a few months, it went from 2 to 3 years to 10 years plus.
So if you stayed in Nova Scotia and got the surgery as paid for by the province, you'd be on a 10-year waiting list?
10 plus year.
Lillian could have the operation done sooner if she paid for it privately, but at $20,000, she simply can't afford it. In Mexico, the procedure is half that cost, but even that is beyond her reach. So, faced with her own mortality, Lillian did something most of us would never even think of. She wrote her own obituary.
We are sad to inform you of the untimely passing of a young mother, sister, daughter, and friend. She died at a young age due to complications with obesity that she fought for years to overcome. She loved to sew and do crafts and loved to help others. And give what she could to anyone in need. She enjoyed the comedies and good laughs. She would appreciate it if you speak out and support obesity, weight loss surgery, and obesity awareness.
Lillian's words struck a chord with this doctor.
Really, what people forget is that these are people.
Dr. Yanni Friedhoff is one of Canada's leading experts on obesity.
And here, her government is saying, no, I'm sorry, if you want that procedure, you're going to have to wait for at least a decade.
Across the country, the government paid for roughly 2,500 people to get bariatric surgery last year. But with skyrocketing obesity rates, experts estimate we should be funding 15,000 every year.
The reason we're questioning Lillian is because as a society, we still have a huge bias and hatred towards people with weight.
I was teased a lot, a whole lot. Boys used to put tacks on my seat, call me names.
In adulthood, how do people treat you?
I'm getting a lot of people who are, you did it yourself, you fix it yourself.
Is that fair?
I don't think so.
Psychiatrist Valerie Taylor doesn't think it's fair either.
The whole trick about weight loss is eat less, exercise more. And do you think these people don't know that? They've been told that their entire lives.
She says what Lillian is battling is not willpower, it's a disease.
Whenever you take any type of substance that causes pleasure, alcohol, drugs of abuse like cocaine, there's a response in your brain, and there are certain chemicals that are released. Dopamine's a big one. And that in certain individuals, they get more of a dopamine release from food than other people do.
But the science of it all seems to be lost on most people. Even the media has put the blame on Lillian for her condition.
You know, in that obituary that she wrote, she said she didn't want to be a burden on her family, but apparently she wants to be a burden on everyone else. Why doesn't she take some personal responsibility? And listen, I'm not one to talk. I'm fat, but I'm not going around blaming the government for being fat.
The thing is that medicine, in Canada at least, it's not about blame. You know, we'll treat the smoker who develops emphysema or lung cancer. If it was easy to lose weight, everybody would be skinny.
But someone stepped in who didn't blame Lillian, a complete stranger who came across her obituary.
I read this and I literally cried and thought, this cannot be happening to somebody in Canada.
Deborah Simons is the founder of Wait No More Consulting, a company based in Saskatoon that sends Canadians to Mexico for obesity surgery.
I copied the obituary and I emailed it down to the doctors and said, is there anything we can do to help this lady?
She brought it to our attention and we decided to do it.
For free?
For free.
Ironically, the obituary Lillian wrote may have just saved her life. Half an hour after arriving at the hospital in Mexico, Lillian has been prepped for surgery and is about to be taken into the operating room.
What are you feeling right now?
Nervous, scared.
At 6:20 p.m., the surgery will begin. And in exactly 1 hour, Lillian will wake up.
Next on 16 by 9, are wait times killing Canadians?
It was too little, too late. It was heartbreaking.
Tijuana, Mexico. It's about the last place you'd expect a Canadian would come for surgery, but that's exactly what Lillian Coakley is doing. It is into the evening on Monday night, and Lillian has just been put under. Our crew is in the OR as doctors begin by inflating Lillian's abdominal cavity with 4 liters of carbon dioxide. The idea that by expanding the area, the surgeons will be able to guide their laparoscopic camera more easily.
See, everything looks great inside.
4 more small incisions are made, and quickly they begin cutting out 80% of Lillian's stomach.
The stomach's already starting to take its form.
The part of the stomach that produces the hunger hormone is also removed, meaning not only will Lillian feel full on less food, she'll actually feel less hungry.
The first 10 days, she should drop about 10 kilos, about 20 pounds. And then after that, she should drop approximately about 14 pounds per month.
Despite the distance Lillian has traveled, she is far from the only Canadian who has come through this operating room. So this surgical facility alone is seeing 15 to 20 Canadians coming down a month.
A month.
And what do they say when they come here? Is that they couldn't get it at home? Is it the cost?
Because they're confident of us and because of the cost. And they don't have to wait as long.
The wait was deadly for Jamie Bogart.
For me, it's like fighting with a tiger 3 times a day.
Somehow, at over 550 pounds, he managed to slip through the cracks of Canada's medical system. This is his brother Perry.
He didn't need to die. He could have been helped with surgery and support, right? There was just so much red tape. The help wasn't there.
It wasn't until the day after Jamie passed away that his family received a registered letter saying he was now a candidate for surgery.
It was too little, too late. It was heartbreaking.
Today, thousands of other Canadians like Jamie simply watch the hands of the clock pass in the same agonizing way, trying to stave off the weight of being morbidly obese. And then there are those like Nelson Tremblay.
It's very difficult to be able to find a scale even in a doctor's office. But the last time I weighed myself, I was 469 pounds. You know, I feel like I'm losing a battle, and you just know that deep inside, when you know you have more bad days than good, that it's a really bad sign that you're going downhill. Some people try to avoid me as well. If I'm in a subway car, they'll get up and walk elsewhere. I just want my life back. I'm fed up living like this.
So frustrated with the wait times in Quebec, Nelson picked up and moved to Ontario. It was the first province to take an aggressive stance on obesity by committing $75 million to creating better access to bariatric surgery.
And I decided, well, I'm going to relocate to Ontario and get into the Ontario system.
Without the surgery, Nelson figures he only has another 5 to 10 years left.
My quality of life just isn't there anymore. Like, I have no life, basically.
And so from his new home in Northern Ontario, Nelson has traveled nearly 1,000 kilometers for an appointment with Toronto Western Hospital's bariatric unit.
If he stays on the trajectory he's on right now, he's certainly in trouble.
All right, so we'll take a look here. Sure.
Dr. Tim Jackson is Nelson's physician.
He already has significant respiratory illness. He's headed for complications such as diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and all the associated health problems with those.
Nelson has to see a number of specialists to ensure he's a good candidate for the operation and the lifestyle that will follow.
Some people think this is an easy fix, that this is the coward's way out, but it's not, because once you have this surgery, there's no going back.
If all goes according to plan, Nelson could have the operation in a matter of months.
Tantos libras por ahí ahorita hay uno que. Now we need to close the incision and that's it. We finish.
Back in Tijuana, less than an hour after the first incision, Lillian is waking up. The operation has gone smoothly.
It's okay, Lillian. You breathe. Thank you very much, okay? We're done. Don't move too much.
Lillian will only have to be in the hospital for another day and a half before returning home.
I wish that I didn't have to come to Mexico to do it. I wish I could be in my home, in my own province, with my children being able to come visit me and my family.
What do you see happening in the days ahead?
Oh, hopefully I get better and stronger and get back on my feet and enjoy losing the weight permanently.
And almost immediately, the weight did start coming off. 2 months after the surgery, back in Nova Scotia, Lillian is down 35 pounds and off her pain medication.
I didn't like me, but I'm starting to really like me. I'm actually falling in love with me.
She hopes her ordeal serves as a wake-up call that obesity can't be a second-class disease.
I was willing to be the poster girl, to be the woman on the 10-year waiting list, and maybe the girl who went to Mexico, but I am not going to be the poster girl of the girl who died on that waiting list.
As for the next time an obituary is written about Lillian, well, she hopes that's a long way off, and that the next one reads a little differently.
Hopefully it will say she lived a long, healthy life. First part not so great, but hopefully the last half is a new beginning. I have 2 birthdays and 2 birthplaces. I was born in Nova Scotia 42 years ago, but I was reborn in Mexico in November.